Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the CRAFTiQ challenge, where you get one item for each of the first 7 days of the month given to you, and then you work on building your layers and your layout with those items. And then on the 20th, we share what we have made. So in this particular case, we were to start with a single photo and with a pattern paper background framed with cardstock. So I am going to go ahead and use this pattern paper from Pink Fresh Studio, and I am going to back it with some black cardstock. Originally I thought I might use navy blue and pull in that navy blue card that's off to the right hand side there that has the polka dots, because later down on the list we are to use some polka dots. But I decided not to use the navy blue. I decided to go with the black. I just liked it a little bit better. And I am going to pull in some black and white polka dots. They're a little bit less busy because the pattern is a little larger. Another one of the items on the list is to add a pop of yellow, and so I am pulling in those yellow flowers. And then we're supposed to do some fussy cutting, and I am going to fussy cut those flowers, which I know it seems kind of redundant because they're already cut out, but they have a huge border around them, and I'm not a huge fan of that big white border. So I am going to fussy cut those and shave off quite a bit of that white edge that's around those flowers. Now I am using a lot of Felicity Jane ephemera, and I'm not a subscriber to her kits, but she did have a sale over Black Friday, and I think it was like 2 Black Fridays ago. And so I have quite a bit of ephemera and some of the paper from her kits, and so I thought I would work with that, and it pairs up really nicely with the Pink Fresh Studio paper that I'm using. So I really do like how it comes out, and I think the colors play nicely together. So here I go with my fussy cutting. I am also going to pull in that little yellow circular piece that's at the top right hand corner there. It's not going to stay there, but I am going to pull that piece in. So that's another little added pop of yellow that I'm adding. And then I'm going to need to add a multi-font or multi-alpha title. That's not a problem. I do that frequently, so I don't see that being an issue. Then I'm supposed to add a bow, and I'm kind of not a big fan of bows, so I will add one, but it's going to be very small and it's minimal. I just don't really know what to use them for most of the time. Once in a while on a baby layout, I'm good with it, but yeah, it's not my favorite item to add, so you won't see me add those frequently. I did decide to distress the edges of my paper just to give it some added texture, and I really like how that ends up looking. Especially with this Pink Fresh Studio paper, which if you know anything about Pink Fresh, you know it is thick. It's quite a bit thicker than regular pattern paper, and so it does have a nice distressed edge when it's all done, because it's pretty chunky. And then the last thing on the list is to add a flag, and that's not a problem. I will find a flag to add to it. Not too difficult at all. Okay, so once I get all of that distressed remnants cleaned up, let me distress a little bit more. I decided to distress the ripped edge of that paper, which was not a problem. But yeah, I decided to go ahead and just use this paper. I had considered maybe cutting the bottom of it off because it's getting covered. Well, it's not the bottom at the moment, it's the side. It's going to get covered by that polka dot paper, but then I was thinking, you know what, I'm going to have a hard time figuring out how to keep it 12 by 12 size, and that was long before I pulled out the black paper. So anyway, I decided just to leave it, and I really like that little dip that I made in the black and white polka dot there, so that you see a little bit more of that Pink Fresh paper at the very bottom. And so this is the orientation that I'm going to keep it in. The polka dots are going to be at the bottom. And as you saw there, I went back and forth as to which direction I wanted everything. But this is my final turn of the papers. Now I am using some Felicity Jane packaging, And the piece that I'm adding right now has little tiny black and white polka dots, or black polka dots on the white, and it's really hard to see on the screen that there are polka dots on it, but there are, and I just thought that was another nice way to bring in those polka dots, but it keeps it very neutral and it's very simple. It doesn't add a lot to the entire layout. I like that scalloped edge that was on the packaging as well, so I wanted that popping up out of the top, but I did put a little bit too much adhesive on it, and that's what I was erasing at the with the eraser there. So now I'm just kind of playing with the ephemera pieces and figuring out where I want things. I know I'm going to add a couple labels up here because that's pretty normal for me. I'm thinking I'm going to have a little banner up at the top there, and that would be kind of take the place of the flag, as it were. But that's going to change a little bit too. Those are not going to stay up there. There is this little teal or turquoisey, minty, I guess, I don't know, little green strip that is like a border that I am gluing down underneath the photo there. That matches the leaves very well that are in the pattern paper from Pink Fresh. So I thought I'd add that just to add a little bit of color at the bottom of the photo. And the photo is of me and my cat, one of our cats. It is the cat that is our big Scaredy cat. Everything's on his terms, and if anybody's in the house he doesn't know, he hides. He's the biggest chicken. He's also the biggest cat we have, and he's just always been that way. And I thought I would just document his big scaredy cat ways, basically. It used to even be when we would do like the flea drops on him every month, he would hide for 2 weeks after we would put those drops on. And so you'd only see him for like 2 weeks because you put him on like every month, and then he would go hide for 2 weeks, and then he'd be out for 2 weeks, and you'd put more drops on, and then he'd go hide. So I finally switched to the collars where they actually last for 8 months, so he doesn't do that anymore. But this is just a rare moment where he was laying on the bed and he actually let me approach him and just come over and give him a little snuggle. Normally he would get up and run away. He has to be super relaxed and in, I don't know, a really good mood, I guess. So I just thought I would kind of take the opportunity to make a note of this moment, and that he has changed a little bit over the years, where he's softened up a bit. So I found this little piece that it's like a bunting that has tassels hanging on it, and so I am popping that up onto some foam tape, and I really like how that looks, going from the corner of the photo across to the ripped edge of the paper, and then with the florals right above it. So I thought that was kind of fun, and I would use that. I'm still trying to play with these little banner flag pieces, but I don't know what I'm going to do with those. I guess maybe they're more like tags. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them, so I kind of just set them off to the side and I keep working on stuff. And in that Felicity Jane ephemera, I actually have 3 packs that I have pulled out, and I don't know which pack is which at this point. They're all mixed up, but it has these little tiny hexagon pieces, and I'm playing with those and just bringing them in for some additional color onto the 2 sides of the photo. And then I'm going to add a 3rd location that's going to be at the top of the photo. And so I really like how that looks when that's all said and done. It's just very subtle and simple. It doesn't add like a lot of texture or anything. They're not raised up. It just pulls in some added colors, and the fact that there's a little black one in each one kind of takes the place of like some enamel dots or something like that. It just kind of creates that visual triangle. Again, I'm playing with those little tag things at the top of the screen, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with them. Also playing with my labels and what I want those to look like. I do end up using that green piece that's right above the labels as my flag, and you can see I'm playing with it there now, going, oh, you know, I could just turn this sideways and it would be like a flag. And I went and got a toothpick out of the kitchen to kind of be the flag holder, if you will. And so I like how that looks. Adds a little texture as well. So now really all that's left is my bow and the multi-font, multi-alpha title. I do have some other things I am going to continue adding to this layout. So the layout is not done at all at this point, but those are the only things left off of the list that I absolutely have to add to complete the challenge. And so I feel like I'm in a really good spot. And then I found some more of those little tassels, but they were individual tassels and they were by themselves. And that's funny. I just said they're individual and then I said they're by themselves. It's very redundant. I apologize for that. They are larger than the other ones, is what I was trying to say. And I never know what to do with those either, so I'm just kind of letting them sit there and trying to figure out what I want to do with them. I do add that little piece that has the turquoisey heart down in by the band or the bunting, and then I do add that little green piece to the circular piece to the flowers there in that little cluster, and I like how that's looking, just bringing in the colors into both sides, and a yellow heart to the green bunting, or not bunting, the green flag at the top, which I think really helps make the green stand out because it does kind of blend with the background paper, but it's not enough, it doesn't blend so much in real life that you can't tell what it is. So I ended up pulling out some embroidery floss and I tied them around each one of those little tassels, and I am going to hang those from this yellow piece, and I think that looks really cool. Just trying to get them all in at the right length so that they look good, and then they are popped up onto some foam tape because there is added dimension behind the photo because of that distressed edge of the polka dot paper. So I didn't mention it earlier as I was adding the foam to the back of the photograph, but that is why I added the foam, and I kind of marked it with a pencil as to where that distressed edge was so that I left a gap in the foam, and the foam would help bridge the gap of that added dimension. So there's my little bow. It is on the toothpick that is holding that flag up, and I really like how that's looking. There are a whole bunch of people that are playing along with this challenge. I did want to make note of that, so go and check out everyone who's playing along. Their links are in my description box down below. This is such a fun challenge. Again, we do it every month, the 1st through the 7th, and there is a Facebook group called the CRAFTiQ Challenge, and so you can check that out. I will try to remember to put a link down below for you so that you can easily find that Facebook group. And it is run by Jackie at JQ Crafting. That is her channel. So make sure you check out everyone playing along to see what they did, because you're going to get all kinds of different ideas and different ways to have completed this challenge. Nobody's layouts will look the same other than having a single photograph and some pattern paper. So I did pull out 3 different alphas. This particular set that I'm working with right here, I don't know what brand they are. They don't have a label on them, but they will not come off of the acetate sheet that they started with. So I basically just fussy cut around the acetate to be able to use them. So again, another form of fussy cutting, even though it's not really a normal way that you would fussy cut for a layout, but it does work in this case because I had to go and cut around them, otherwise I couldn't use them. So that was kind of crazy, and I didn't want to leave the acetate just, stuck all the way underneath that letter C, because then the middle of the C would be all shiny with the acetate. So I did actually fussy cut around them pretty closely. So, and again, my title here is Big Scaredy Cat, and I like the letters that I chose, especially for that big. The layout is kind of a soft and more feminine kind of a layout, but adding those letters kind of gives it a little bit of a playful nature, which he does have a playful side. It's just not usually with people. He can be playful with the other 2 cats that we have, but it's, he's a big chicken. So anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I hope that you go and check out the challenge and maybe consider playing along with us next month. And even if you don't do YouTube, you are more than welcome to share within the group or just play along for the fun of it and for your own enjoyment and your own inspiration. So don't ever rule out that just because you don't have a YouTube channel, or if you are not really into sharing on social media, you are still welcome and encouraged to play along. There was this little gap here behind the T and between the T and the photograph, so I just added one more little flower to kind of close off that gap. And I did some stitching all the way around the outside of the layout. If you enjoyed this video, I really would appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe and hit the little bell so you get notifications. And I thank you so much for taking time to spend with me today. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.